In today's episode of American Farming, we'll discuss how American farmers produce 135 tons of soybeans. So let's get started. For American farmers, growing and harvesting soybean is no ordinary job. It's more of a passion, something they devote their entire lives to, and rightfully so, since nearly 91 million hectares in the United States are reserved for soybean cultivation, which produces somewhere around 135 million tons of soybeans every year. According to this statistic, the United States is among the top 2 countries with the highest soybean production in the world. When we talk about specific regions, Minnesota and Indiana are the 2 main centers of soybean production in the country, where lush and stunning soybean fields act as a source of the all-important crop. Before we begin with showing you the actual farming process, let's talk a bit about the soybean itself, including its importance, uses, and numerous health benefits. Out of the 135 million tons of soybean, nearly 78% is used as animal feed in the US. Most of it goes to poultry, but sometimes soybeans are also a source of nutrition for livestock, which in turn produces meat and dairy products. The second most significant use of soybean is export. According to a 2021 report, the US exports nearly 45 million tons of soybeans annually. Additionally, it makes over $400 million from the soybean exports to countries like Japan and Germany, and a whopping $700 million from exports to Mexico. And considering these numbers, it's no surprise that the export value of soybeans has reached a staggering $25.7 billion. But let's not forget the role of soybeans in the gigantic food industry. Soybeans are used in the manufacture of soybean oil, also known as the most commonly used vegetable oil in the US. More than 50% of soybean oil is used in the culinary industry and is served in restaurants alongside a variety of scrumptious dishes. But just like its predecessor, soybean oil is extremely versatile in terms of usage. It's also used in the manufacture of industrial goods, including adhesives, lubricants, and rubber. The uses of soybean oil extend to the production of other cooking oils, biodiesel, bioheat, and non-toxic industrial supplies like paints and cleaners. Soybeans are also essential for the production of unfermented food products. Some examples include soy milk, tempeh, and tofu. Let's talk about soy milk first, since it's one of the most important fates of soybean. Soy milk is a plant-based milk that is often recognized as an intermediate product in the manufacture of tofu. It was originally used in China, but gradually became popular all across the world, including the US. Long before it was produced in factories, home cooks made their own soy milk using the traditional method which was used for hundreds of years. It involves soaking soybeans in water overnight, then grinding the beans with water added during the grinding. This produces soy milk slurry, which is then boiled and stirred to increase the milk's nutritional value as well as its flavor. Although this method works, it's important to keep specific temperatures in mind and ensure that the slurry reaches a high enough temperature. This eliminates any harmful pathogens in the soy milk and increases its shelf life. When we talk about soy milk production in the US, it's a complex and detailed process taking place at a large scale. Here, the soy milk slurry is also boiled and stirred, but there are several additional steps and specialized machinery to get rid of the beany texture and flavor. The soy milk slurry produced in factories passes through huge sieves, which separate the fiber residue from the soy milk. The remaining soy milk then goes through a few more steps to get pasteurized, homogenized, sterilized, and slightly flavored. Once that's done, the soy milk is ready to be packaged and sent out. It's sold all across the country, and millions of homes and commercial kitchens use soy milk as an alternative to cow milk. It's also used to make vegan products like soy cream, soy yogurt, and soy-based cheese. Other than making soy milk and other dairy alternatives, soybeans can also be used in their original form. These protein-filled grains can also be used as a topping on a variety of dishes, from soups to salads and delicious plant-based meals. Whether you obtain them directly or in the form of unfermented soy products, these beans are loaded with nutrients. Soybeans contain essential vitamins and minerals such as folate, thiamine, and vitamin K1 that may not be accessible via other food products. These grains will also give you all the benefits of antioxidants and plant compounds like isoflavones, phytic acid, and saponins, which have been linked to reduce chances of breast and prostate cancer. Soybeans also contain soluble fibers that have been linked with improved gut health and reduced risk of colon cancer. Nutritionists believe that every 3.5 ounces of soybeans contain nearly 63% water and over 18 grams of protein, 8 grams of carbs, and 9 grams of healthy fats. Also, according to a recent study, consuming 25 grams of soybeans daily alongside a healthy diet can reduce the risk of cardiac issues and fatal heart diseases. So, soybeans are essential to health and a major nutritional source. Now that we understand why soybean production is so important, let's take a look at the extensive yet interesting farming process that makes soybeans accessible to us. The plantation stage is the first step in the farming process. Every year, soybeans are mechanically planted by farmers at a rate of 130,000 seeds per acre. This happens after the process of tilling, or the loosening of soil, so that the germination or seed growth remains uninterrupted. Farmers use specialized planting machines that sow seeds at a specific depth and position in the soil. Meanwhile, other machines are solely responsible for spraying pesticides and insecticides to remove pests like beetles and control weeds that could potentially harm or contaminate the soybeans. After this step, farmers have to wait for at least 3 weeks before they can add fertilizer. Fertilizers supply the necessary macronutrients, including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, as well as micronutrients like boron, iron, magnesium, and zinc that are necessary for optimal growth. The soil pH levels must be maintained between 5.5 and 7.0 during this stage to ensure maximum nutrient absorption. Once that's done, soybeans undergo 2 growth stages, the vegetative stage and the reproductive stage. In the vegetative stage, the plant emerges from the soil and begins to flower, while in the reproductive stage, the soybeans mature until they're fully ready for harvest. During the growth stage, farmers cannot simply leave the crop alone. Instead, they must monitor and protect it consistently. This not only results in a high and profitable yield, but also ensures that the farmer's investment in seeds, pest treatments, and operational expenses doesn't go to waste. While they're waiting for the growth stage to be over, farmers also practice crop rotation, an agricultural technique that involves growing different types of crops in the same area over multiple growing seasons. Crop rotation is important because it improves soil health, reduces pest pressure and disease-carrying residues, and minimizes the dependence of crops on a single set of nutrients. Instead of continuously planting soybeans, farmers alternate with crops like maize and wheat, which results in higher yields. After the planting stage, farmers must wait an additional 2 months before harvesting. Soybean leaves usually show a color change as they transition from green to yellow and eventually brown before falling off. This is the sign that the pods are exposed and the fields are ready for harvest. Harvesting is faster and more efficient by the use of large harvesting machines, commonly known as combines, which offer multiple functions during the process. First, the combine cuts and delicately collects the soybean plants to avoid damaging the seed coat. Then it separates the beans from their pods and transfers them to a holding tank before emptying them into a grain truck or wagon. The harvested soybeans are either sold immediately or transported to a grain dealer or storage facility for further processing. In the United States, the most common type of harvested soybean is the yellow soybean, which is also used to produce popular soy products like tofu and soy milk. Green, black, white, and red soybeans are also grown and harvested in significant quantities. And that's how American farmers produce 135 tons of soybeans every year. Take a moment to appreciate their efforts the next time you purchase soybeans or soy products at a store or use them in your finished dish. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. See you next time.